This is Valley News Live at 6.
It's a little frustrating to feel like the board and the people that are making the decisions are not listening to parents or the community.
Good evening, everyone. Some parents are fed up and speaking out tonight against the Fargo Public School Board's decision to require masks for all staff and students this fall, regardless of vaccination status.
Now, some parents say their kids will defy the rules and will not wear masks come the first day of school, while others say they're done with the district, now looking into homeschooling or open enrollment elsewhere.
Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley spoke to one Fargo mom today who says while she doesn't know what's next for her 4 kids, leaving FPS is what's best.
Masking didn't go well for Katie Stensgaard's 4 kids last year. So when Tuesday night's decision was made to bring masks back for the upcoming school year, Stensgaard says it was a unanimous decision to walk away.
It's like, no, we're kind of done.
And several other parents tell me they're doing the same, saying they don't feel heard or valued by the Fargo Public School Board or school leaders.
And I think that we just need to make public policy on what's happening now, not worst case scenario.
And for Stensgaard, she says it's not that she thinks masks are bad. Rather, she says, like West Fargo and Moorhead Public Schools' decisions, masking should be optional and a move each family gets to make a choice on.
Like if you want to send your kids in a mask, that's great. I think you should have that right. But I think parents should also have the right to say no, I've done my own research.
As for what's next for her 4 kids, Stensgaard says she's unsure.
Do we homeschool? Do we go to private school, which there's so many great options, but financially, is that something that we can even afford? Or, open enrollment, which, okay, now we missed the deadline.
But when asked if her 4 kids would be back in the district next year if FPS ditches its mask policy by then, Stensgaard says it's too soon to tell.
Part of it comes down to we don't want to be jumping back and forth. We want some stability.
Saying while what's next in her children's education is a big decision, she knows she's not alone. In South Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Fargo Public Schools wasn't able to provide an on-camera interview about this today.
But when asked if the district's mask policy could change depending on COVID cases and hospitalizations in the county, West Fargo School says they will continue to monitor what's going on in the community and provide up-to-date information to families so that they can make the decisions that are best for their unique family situation. Well, not too much happening in the weather today, which is okay, even for a chief meteorologist, I guess. Let's find out. Hutch, you doing all right?
Yeah, thumb aerobics. We definitely have clouds making their way through the Northern Valley as we head through the evening, and a couple of days of thunderstorms and showers were welcome, although we saw some big hail and a little bit of rain last night as we headed through the overnight hours. Take a look at your PERSEID meteor shower forecast for tonight. Some in our northern counties will see more clouds, but a better chance at starry skies in the Southern Valley. And that meteor rate tonight will be peaking after midnight. It will be dark too because we only have a crescent moon to be concerned about. That makes for better viewing, and if you can get away from the light pollution of the city, that's good. Notice clouds increasing north, a spotty sprinkle showing up on the radar. This morning's showers that made their way through delivered anywhere from a trace to nothing to maybe 0.4 of an inch estimated by radar in northwest Minnesota. 70s there. Look at this, 85 to 90 still here in the Southern Valley as it continues to sizzle. Your planner looks like this. Temperatures will slip out of the low 80s and into the 70s for most of the night with passing clouds. Likewise, a little bit more clouds as we look up north, but clearing overnight should leave good viewing for many of the PERSEID meteor shower.
All right, thanks.
You bet.
We're learning more about the pilot involved in the plane crash yesterday outside of West Fargo. He's Jeffrey Kloster from Omaha, and his legs are severely injured. He was trapped inside that plane for 40 minutes while crews worked to get him out. Investigators are still trying to figure out why the plane crashed.
In Fergus Falls, a man there is now charged with murder following the death of an 11-year-old boy. Reggie Bethel is accused of beating the boy. Authorities say that this happened on July 29th in Fergus Falls. Records show that the first Bethel said that boy fell, then admitted he grabbed the child and slammed his head against a wall. Bethel is now charged with second-degree murder, first-degree manslaughter, and second-degree manslaughter.
The Hotel Donaldson won't have to pay for anything following a deadly fight outside its doors. Back in 2017, there was a fight between Jamie Grant, Christopher Sang, and Darren Patterson. Patterson was convicted of throwing a punch that killed Grant. Sang also suffered a brain injury. Sang and Grant's wife sued the Hodo for $2.5 million, saying they should have known the men would fight after getting kicked out of the bar. However, the jury sided with the witness for the Hodo, saying its staff had no authority over anyone outside its doors.
Police want you to know about a high-risk sex offender now living in Fargo. Tyree Guy Gardner is living at 1122 2nd Avenue South. He was convicted in 2022 in Burleigh County for gross sexual imposition. His victim was a girl under the age of 15. High-risk sex offenders are considered more likely to offend and reoffend.
All True Health System in Grand Forks is requiring COVID vaccination for its employees. They say all employees, from volunteers and students to physicians, must be fully vaccinated by November 15th. But CEO Stephen Weiser says employees can request an exemption for medical, religious, even philosophical reasons in an effort to, quote, respect everyone's right of decision making.
The reason for have this additive exception is to understand that this is a different time and a different new form of a vaccine to respect the choice of the individual.
If an employee is granted an exemption, they'll be subject to regular COVID testing and receive education about the vaccine. The Bethany Retirement Living Center will also require everyone to get the vaccine. Bethany says more than 93% of its employees are already vaccinated and that any unvaccinated employees will need to start the vaccination series by September 15th, complete that series by October 15th. Starting August 31st, all new employees will also be required to get the shot. Contractors, vendors, and volunteers are also subject to that September 15th deadline.
And Minnesota State employees will be required to prove that they have been vaccinated against the virus or at least agree to undergo weekly testing before they can return to the office. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz ordered that state agency employees who work in person must show their proof of vaccination by September 8th. Employees who haven't been vaccinated by then will be required to test negative at least once a week. Moderna is conducting a new trial for Minnesota kids ages 11 and under this week. Health experts say that the dose for that age group is half of what adults are getting. Some will get the vaccine, others will get a placebo, and the medical team will watch for side effects. One doctor says the trial will help shape the future of pediatric COVID vaccines.
We're doing our part to contribute to the whole nation's and the whole world's getting these vaccines available to the younger age group.
So far, more than 800 have signed up to be part of this study, but it's still looking for more to fill the roughly 70 spots.
COVID hospitalizations have tripled across Minnesota in the last month, and according to the Mayo Clinic, the spread of the Delta variant is likely to accelerate. There are more than 300 people hospitalized with more severe infections. That's according to the Department of Health. Currently, Minnesota COVID cases have grown to 17 per 100,000 people, but the Mayo Clinic is forecasting that to double to 37 in the next 2 weeks.
I'm not saying that we're going to run into a crisis, but we may have a surge that approaches what we saw this winter later in the summer. I hope that's not the case, but we're certainly prepared for that.
In North Dakota, there were 860 active COVID cases, which is double the number it was 2 weeks ago. One new death was also reported this morning, putting the total number of virus-related deaths at 1,543. The most impacted county at this time is Cass, with 218 active cases. According to the Department of Health, 24 people are currently hospitalized in the state, with 2 in intensive care.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, some people's cell phones went off today, notifying them of an alert. Details to come.
Overnight showers worked their way out of the Devil's Lake Basin, where they did a little bit of raining. Well, there was the 47 drops we got here in the FM area. Hardly much to be concerned about. Temperatures back into the 80 to 90 degree range in the Southern Valley today. Your forecast looks cooler. I'll have details coming up next.